Hi, my name is Corey Atwater, and I'm here tonight to talk a little bit about unconscious bias. Unconscious biases permeate all aspects of our society because as humans, we're constantly observing, digesting information, and applying it to our surroundings. That's what's gotten us as far as we have, technologically, socially, or politically. Basically, in any way you care to think of. However, it's not always a good thing, because each inference we make about the world around us is a bias that we then hold. For instance, when I was in elementary school, a boy transferred into my third grade class. Directly after talking about how the only thing he knew about our school was what time recess was, he talked to me about a horror movie that he was proud to have seen. I don't really like horror movies. So later, when I met his brother, I already held a bias against him, based solely on the boy's merit. So I was curt with him, and maybe not as polite as I could have been. If I'd recognized that I held a bias towards the boy who transferred into my class, maybe I could have been nicer. And maybe, if I'd recognized my bias, I could have even held a positive relationship with that boy. So the key to elimination of unconscious bias is recognition. And the reason we have to understand the key to eliminating unconscious bias is that it's not always just 8-year-olds being impolite to each other. It can break apart business deals, relationships, and it can even end lives, as was the case with Trayvon Martin. The Trayvon Martin case was a well-publicized, recently, court case in which they discussed the story of George Zimmerman's murder of Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin, a 17-year-old African-American boy, was in a gated community, and he was wearing a hoodie. And this was at night. So George Zimmerman, a 28-year-old guy, the head of his neighborhood watch committee, made an assumption based on his looks. And George Zimmerman attacked, fought, and killed Trayvon Martin because he assumed that Trayvon Martin had some kind of criminal intent. Although George Zimmerman was just acting on an inference, Trayvon Martin was probably just completely peaceful, but George Zimmerman attacked him. There's a range of importance in how unconscious bias plays out in our lives, because all of us have bias, so there's so many instances. Some people have already recognized the fact that they have biases. For instance, some musical auditions are being held behind curtains because the directors understand that they will have biases based on the appearance of the musicians or how they handle themselves on stage, and they want to judge someone's musical talent solely on their merit. There's really no general information on how to combat unconscious bias because each case of unconscious bias is so extremely personalized to the situation. It's important to think about unconscious bias because that is the only way to combat it, and it can be very, very serious in each of our lives. Each bias is a decision. An unconscious bias is an unconscious decision. And an unconscious decision is generally not a very good one. So make your decisions consciously. Thank you.